What's happening, guys? We're back and we're gonna see what the inside of that mold looks like. That's right, we are going to pop this form off. We've spent like 3 episodes on building it, and this is like the reveal episode. So after last episode, I did put kind of a strengthening rib on the front of this panel. That's just to keep it straight. I'm not sure how flexible this fiberglass is gonna be. That's kind of part of the learning curve of it. So I put a strengthening rib on. I made it out of this purple foam. This is XPS. It's not supposed to dissolve with the resin, but it does. It still dissolves. It just dissolves slower. So it all kind of turned to goop in there, but it held up long enough for the fiberglass to form that rib. So we got a rib on there. We also, if you remember when we were working on the buck, along the bottom edge, we didn't do a very good job of making it real smooth. There's some surface imperfections and dents and stuff. So the fiberglass is gonna kind of collect into all those surface imperfections and make it really hard to pop off. So before we start prying on this thing, I'm gonna grab a grinder with a cutoff wheel and just hack an inch off the bottom. We added like a 4-inch kind of skirt onto the bottom of this thing, and that's what it's there for. So let's grab a grinder and make some dust. All right, we got a nice smooth edge. I got a plastic putty knife. I'm gonna try to kind of work my way in there and pop it off. It might come off really easy, but I'm not holding my breath. Alright, that came off pretty easy actually. It's not perfect inside. Try to get it so you guys can see the light in there. It came out pretty good, but there's kind of a couple of, yeah, you can kind of see them. A couple of kind of split marks there. I think that's from where I put the gel coat on a little thin on the first coat. There's also a couple of spots. I don't know, you guys won't be able to see that. There's a spot right there where the gel coat had some bubbles in it. Once again, not a huge issue, just the finished part won't be quite as perfect, and we'll just have to do a little bit more work on the actual piece. So I'm gonna grab the grinder and kind of cut off this, this flashing bit here so that we have a nice clean edge so we don't cut ourselves on it. All right, that turned out good. It's a nice little cowl mold. Pretty simple, but it's nice and smooth. So the next step for this would be to polish it up and then wax it and then start laying in our final piece. But I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna actually just set this guy aside, and I'm gonna take that cowl mold, cut the front of it off, and glue it onto the hood mold, so we can start the final shaping on those, so we can build one of these for the entire hood and cowl section. So let's clear off the table and get those up on the bench. Alright, so I kind of chewed off that front panel that we glued on, and below it, there's kind of, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it. I can see where I made that original cut, and it lines up with the cut on the hood. So I should be able to sand this back to those original foam blocks, and then glue this foam right back where it came from. So I gotta just sand this edge down until it's flush with the foam where we cut it. And hopefully it'll just glue right on there. So I think I'm gonna do that with the grinder and a rasp. Yeah, should work. Alright, so we got that glued on. I'm gonna call it an episode there. Made pretty good progress. We got the two parts of our mold glued back together. We got our, I'm gonna call this the firewall mold, because this is essentially gonna be the firewall. So we got that demolded. That's looking good. This mold is gonna take a lot more work than that one. Because it is so big, I think I'm gonna have to do it in at least 3 pieces that all bolt together. So that's gonna be an endeavor. But yeah, I gotta let that glue dry, and then I'll flip this thing over, strengthen it from the back side, just to make sure that it doesn't crack on that seam. And then we can move on to filling up all these gaps with drywall mud and foam and everything, and then shaping it once again, and going through all the steps that we went through on the firewall mold. We gotta do that on here. So shape it all smooth, and then we'll go over and re-shellac it and whatnot. So we'll move on to that next episode though. So in the meantime, guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Go follow us on Instagram, Leftfootfirst Media. We post pictures of what we're doing throughout the week on there. And yeah, we'll see you next episode. I'm out of here.